This afternoon, we're in New Smyrna Beach, Florida, at the Sugar Mill ruins. There is an intriguing backstory to this location, so let's go on a journey together. Hi, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're at the Sugar Mill ruins in New Smyrna Beach, Florida. This is a historic site that sits about 1 mile west of the Intercoastal Waterway here in New Smyrna Beach. This location was added to the National Register of Historic Places on August 12th, back in 1970. In 1830, a man named William Kimball contracted to build a steam-operated sugarcane mill and a sawmill here in New Smyrna Beach. He was building these for a Mr. William DePeester and a Mr. Henry Cruiser. These were both businessmen from New York. Now, Henry Cruiser's wife and other investors had fronted the money for the construction of these mills. The mills were to be built on 600 acres of land here in New Smyrna Beach that Mr. Cruiser had bought from a local minister, Ambrose Hall. Now, for context, by 1830, Volusia County, which is the county that New Smyrna Beach is in, had about 20 sugarcane plantations and mills along this coast, and there was a workforce of roughly 500 slaves or indentured servants. Both of the mills were masonry buildings created from a local rock called coquina. Now, coquina rock is very interesting, and it's something I've spoke about in prior videos. This is a form of sedimentary rock that is full of fossilized shells from tiny mollusks. The workers would cut away the rock from a nearby quarry and they would haul it directly to the mill site. Now, if we step back into 1830s New Smyrna at the site of the construction of this mill, and we were to look inside of the mill, we'd find a small building inside called a crushing house. We'd see the men constructing a large chimney, constructing large doors, and creating windows with arches. And most of these features are aspects that are present when we look at these ruins today. It's inside of this mill where the steam-driven grinding machinery would extract the juice from the sugarcane. Now, this entire construction process was carried out using slave labor and working animals. A man named John Dwight Sheldon was in charge of the entire operation as the plantation overseer. Today, we find aspects of this topic controversial, especially when discussing slavery. I feel it's important to acknowledge that much of early Florida was built on the back of slave labor, and it's hard to imagine the personal toll on the lives of enslaved persons and the loss not only of their personal freedom, but their own hopes and dreams. Unfortunately, the mill had a relatively abrupt end, surviving only 5 years. On Christmas Day in 1835, the slaves that were overseen by John Sheldon at the plantation gave a warning that there were Seminoles and war paint nearby, and the evacuation of the site was immediately ordered. John Sheldon, along with his wife and some of the slaves on the plantation, fled across what is now the Indian River. Now, the Sheldons fled with other family and children to Bulow Plantation, and this is where other white settlers had taken refuge from the same Seminole attacks. Now, the Seminole Indians, aided by many of the abandoned plantation slaves, ended up setting the sugar mill and all of the adjoining buildings on fire. After the destruction of the New Smyrna Sugar Mill and plantation, the machinery from this mill was removed, and it was actually installed at the nearby Dunlawton Sugar Mill. And as history shows us with this series of events on that fateful night, this was the end of the Cruiser and DePeester Sugar Mill in New Smyrna Beach. Now, today we can still visit the remnants of the dreams and endeavors of the men who'd hoped to profit from producing sugar here in New Smyrna Beach. Though their efforts may not have been successful in the short term, it was these early attempts that helped bring new life to New Smyrna Beach, and it helped build up some of its earliest infrastructure. For those who want a first-hand experience of the ruins, these ruins are pretty easy to locate. So the Sugar Mill ruins are located at 600 Mission Drive, and this sits pretty close to downtown New Smyrna Beach. If you plug Sugar Mill Ruins into your Google or Apple Maps, you'll get directions pretty quickly to the site. Now, there is no entrance fee charge, and there is ample parking in a dirt parking lot. It's a really serene location that sits nestled back in a wooded area. If you were to ask me to best describe the experience there, it's quiet, calm, and peaceful. And every time I go there, I recall the sounds of all these birds sort of chirping in the trees. Now, there are paved paths all around the entire ruins, so it allows for disabled accessibility, and it also allows for easy sort of 360-degree viewing of the entire ruins. Now, the park is open from sunrise to sunset, and that will vary between the summer and the winter hours. That changes at different times, so account for that. If you're feeling physical or industrious, there are actually nature walking trails that go into the forest, and those are really nice too. There are also various historic objects related to the operation of the mill that are scattered about the field there, so you can check those out and read the descriptive placards that are on the site too, and use that as an educational opportunity for maybe your friends or children. And so there is an educational opportunity at this site too. So I want to thank you for coming along with me on this journey here. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more great content.